Today we're going to be going through this weekend's auctions on Morphmarket, ending on the 23rd all the way through the 25th. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting right off with this Orange Dream Yellow Belly Leopard Pinstripe 100% Het clown that's also a possible Phantom. Yes, possible Phantom. It looks very, very cool. I promise you I did not just pick it for the unfortunate typo, but it is pretty funny. The snake is gorgeous though. I love Pinstripe and it works really good with these jeans. Honestly, it just by itself, it looks really good. I hate when people tell me that Pinstripe is old and tired of a jean. In clown, I absolutely love it, which of course this one is a Het clown. And these combos, I love it. It's so colorful, honestly. It's very bright. It has a very orange and yellowy tint. Lots of cool pattern, and the pattern is this like kind of rusty magma type pattern as well. So it suits this animal quite well. It's a lot of pattern too. Like, look at this. It's just so perfect. And that's, I think, from the leopard popping in there. And then the coloring, of course, is the Orange Dream and the Yellow Belly popping in there for you. And the pattern, of course, is leopard and pinstripe tag teaming to do this. So, because sometimes when you get pinstripe, I think it's very cool still, but sometimes it's a little more thin, obviously, hence the pin stripe. But the leopard really brings in these cool, awesome, smaller little splotches. The fact that this is a female and it is Het clown is great, because it's going to keep this price a little lower, I think. This is going to be the first one ending here. If you're going to save money, I always say get the hets and the females, and a lot of people don't agree with that. They say, no, what are you talking about? This is a female game. You should have lots of powerful females. And yes, you should have mostly females, and they shouldn't just be some generic thing, and you should get them as packed as possible, but you're going to pay a pretty penny for a lot of that. I suggest, if you're trying to save a little bit, make your male the visual. Make him packed with so much stuff, because he's going to breed to more than one animal, most likely. He's going to pass the genes that you have paid for to multiple animals. So make him your god tier snake. And you know, not that you should cheap out on the females, of course, but the females are going to be a lot more expensive if you hit a visual, and now you can get something with so much potential, you know, like an Orange Dream, a Black Pastel, Spot Nose, I don't know, a clown, maybe get some other stuff in there. Heck, you're one gene away from the Pompeii at that point, and you can get the Pimpei, is what they call it, with some extra genes in there too, so why not just go for that? This is probably going to stay a little bit lower, and there's so many different avenues you can go with this. I think this is their clutch mates. Yeah, because that's this one. But yeah, don't sleep on this. I think it's going to end a little low. It does have some interest, so that could change. If the auction is going to take off, it changes in the last 5 minutes. And hopefully you get this girl and put her into some cool projects. Moving right along to this Pastel Pied Het Desert Ghost, another one with a het in the female, and that is why I had to pick this one, because it has 0 bids right now and it's under 24 hours, and I find that a little hard to believe. I love Pastel Pieds. Pastel and Pied work quite well together. I love what it does for the pattern, for the coloring. The fact that this is Het Desert Ghost means that if you are working the Pied Desert Ghost lines, this is possibly a very good pickup for you, and you could get it for pretty cheap, in my opinion. Not really much more to say here. I mean, it's a very good ad, I think, in most people's cases. Maybe not if you're a crazy big breeder already, but you know, this is a video I try to make for literally everybody that can use it. So if that is you, this could be a good add to a Desert Ghost Pied project. From the same breeder, not at all with the same genes though, would be this Lace clown. Lace, I talk about it a lot, and I've seen lately, in the last few videos, I think I've started seeing a lot more Lace clowns on here, which is proof that they've been being produced a lot more. A lot of people are listening, so they're starting to produce more simple combos, but this is a good way to get a very good gene, a very sought after gene, and breed it through your collection. Maybe this isn't a boy you keep for a long period of time, but you breed that Lace into some of your clown females, and then you move on from him from the holdbacks that you get. But Lace would be a good thing to sprinkle into your future collections, even if it sits with your females going forward after this, or maybe you make a male to replace him. You breed him to another clown and get a lot of other genes in there that are really cool. So Lace is going to be one that it's an enhancing gene, and if you see the white Lace, you'll see why, another reason why this is very good. There's a lot of combos, especially in clown. If you don't take my word for it, well then just go over to Canova's page and search Lace, and you'll see all that I'm talking about, because they're quite good, and there's some of the brightest, most fire and electric snakes I've ever seen in my life have been produced with Lace. So do not sleep on this one. This would be a very good add to someone's collection, just to get that gene through for a lot cheaper price than it could possibly go for. And wouldn't you know it, another one from Reptile Creation, same breeder, this Pastel Puzzle 66% het hypo. Again, and you're female here, so if you want to work the puzzle project, this would be a good way to do that because puzzle hypos are very, very cool. You're going to want to send this in for a shed test, because that could change what male you end up pairing this to or picking up, quite frankly. And you don't want to make uninformed decisions, clearly, so you definitely want to send this in. It has a more than likely chance that it is hypo, but a very good add as a female to someone's collection, being already a visual puzzle, and if it hits the het hypo, if it proves out, that would be phenomenal. Moving right on to our first chimera snake. Every single video, we're looking at this beautiful pastel Trojan clown, also in a female again, and I've talked about Trojan in the past quite a bit. It is a highly underrated gene. I think a lot of people consider it just an enhancing type gene, and it is to a small extent, but there's a lot you can do with Trojan. It's a very nice enhancing gene. I think it brings a little bit of like a tannish type look to it, and when you get it into certain combos, like look at this one here, this super inchy Trojan clown. If you look at a super inchy clown, they're browned out, but they're very creamy here, and that's from that Trojan 100%. That's what's bringing that in and keeping it very nice and clean with this beautiful like light siding. So something to consider. That is a phenomenally underrated gene, and honestly they're good conversation starters from a business point. You work Trojan, right? And some people look at that and say, well, what is a Trojan? Especially if you made it a phenomenal example. If you've made something like that, someone like this, someone's going to ask you a question, and that is the conversation starter that gets you to sell some of these and to buy into the project at all levels, because you can see at all levels these prices, they're everywhere. You could pick this one up for, I mean, it's going to end higher, but it's not going to end crazy high. And you have Trojan on your table, you make a great example. People have a conversation, they say, well, what is making this snake so amazing? And you tell them all about the Trojan, they want to buy into that now. It's a unique one, because think about it, honestly. Have you ever seen a Trojan at a show? Probably not. Maybe you have. If you've been to one of the bigger shows, probably. But how often? Not much. They need to be worked more. It's a great gene. It's such a great gene. Someday I will add it to mine. Moving right along to this albino clown leopard fire. I love the albino gene, and a lot of people think that it is a very older gene and there's a lot better combos out there. And for the most part, I'd actually agree with you, but I do love albino and I work it, quite frankly, in albino pieds, and just like making them, quite frankly. They sell every year as a pet level, as sometimes even like minor level breeding level. So the point of this one though is that it is a sherbet orange, almost like a pinkish hue to it, and that is awesome. I haven't seen one quite like this. Normally I don't care for the albino clowns as much because a lot of times they're kind of faded out and it's just kind of orange and you can kind of see the clown pattern, but this one is outstanding, and I think that fire really brings that to the table. The leopard really adds this electric barbed wire down the back. Just an absolutely stunning male here. I don't know what you'd use them for in terms of a project. I mean, it just depends. I mean, heck, you make more snakes like this, who cares, right? But either as a pet or as a breeder, I think he would work out in the right project. It's an example of what you can do with that. He's so cool looking. Moving along from lightning morphs would be this pastel Batman Desert Ghost. Again, usually in the male, I like a visual, but that would be a lot of money to have a Batman DG. So I don't think that is quite as reasonable for some people, and quite frankly I don't know if it would be on the auctions in most cases. The point of the matter here is that this male could find a lot of use to you. Batman is always a cool morph. It's one of the original morphs that really just blew up, especially for clown, these combos that you can make with this awesome gene that is clown, of course. But the het Desert Ghost, there's a lot of potential there too, because you put it to a female Desert Ghost that's het for clown, sprinkle in a little bit of extra genes in there, you always got to, right? And you're cooking with gas, because that is gonna make some really cool, awesome animals. Pretty certain that the Batman DG has been done. I'm not 100% positive, but if not, I'm sure that regardless, it's still gonna be an amazing thing to make. And you don't always have to be the first, quite frankly, it's fine. The point of the matter is that this can make amazing animals, and I think it's gonna stay on the lower side. So if you're into the Desert Ghost clown projects, this one has a lot of potential to make some cool things. This one I had to include. I love the blackhead gene in lavender albino, and I'm pretty certain that this is it. I think that by putting it in parentheses, they're suggesting that it's a possible, but I'm pretty certain that this is one. The head really gives it away. The pattern between here, the white, how it's kind of graying a bit. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that that's the case. Now you might be thinking that blackhead lavender albino pied, so this is a Dreamsicle, right? Well, where's the white splotches? That doesn't happen all the time on every pied. I have two pieds from a pied to pied pairing. They have literally no white. but it's pied to pied. They have to be. It happens, trust me. And this pattern, honestly, is more of a dead giveaway to me than really anything else. I'd like to see its belly and whatnot, but it is what it is. It does have a reserve price though, but Blackhead and Lavender Albino is such an amazing combo. To see it in a Dreamsicle is really cool, and there's a lot of different combos you can still make with these Dreamsicles. They're still very, very cool. They have come down in price a bit, and I don't know what this reserve price will end at, but I think that he bid comfortably to what you wanted to pay, but he could definitely do some work for you with that Blackhead gene, that's for sure. And then speaking of that, if you need a female, look no further. This is a proven breeder, female at that. So this male here is almost ready, and this female might already be ready, but she's a proven breeder. But what I mean is she might have laid for the year. Either way, you got some time to get your guy up to speed here. So this would be a pretty good one, I think, just as a pair, honestly. And it's from Brock Wagner, who's a very good breeder, a very trustable breeder. So you know that this one has probably made some great animals in its day, some quality animals. It's free shipping at that. Look at that. Heck, that's a really good deal. I'm kind of tempted. Bid with confidence. I mean, if you win one, this is free shipping, so you're not really paying any more than what you bid. So, you know, bid away, and you could be making some Dreamsicles, maybe with this Blackhead yourself. And then wouldn't you know it, here's another one. So if you miss out on, well, actually the other one ends later apparently. So this one ends a little bit sooner. It's only at 105 right now. Still got some time on there. Still a little bit of bids. There's some shipping on this one though. Looks like the shipping might cost less depending on what you look at. So I think that, you know, a lot of people put a larger amount on there because they want to cover themselves, because shipping is really expensive, quite frankly. Like for example, if this one sells for 140 bucks, he might not make much, if anything. But anyways, the point of the matter is that you've got some proven breeders up here this week that could start making you some Dreamsicles right away. And you don't have to use it with the one I showed, quite frankly. If you are looking for a cheaper proven breeder to get yourself started a little earlier, you've done your research, you've done everything, you're ready to start breeding, you started getting some more investment animals, but you got that itch, right? Yeah, trust me, I did. And I cheated, and I bought proven breeders as well, and they've made me more than my investment back and then some. So do the same, and these are much cheaper than when I got them. Of course, I got visuals, so I was a little more insane. Moving right along to this Leopard Confusion Yellow Belly Double Het Clown Pied, also from a fantastic breeder in Bob's Balls. This male here is stunning. The way Leopard and Confusion work together, and Yellow Belly for that matter too, it's just so awesome. And again, you usually like to have your visuals to be in the males. I say it every time. I sound like a broken record. Oh well, but you know, that's what part of the auction is about. This is a proven breeder, at least I believe he would be at 900 grams. And a lot of these bigger breeders, they get visuals of these, quite frankly, and they get a male. So the children have replaced them and they don't need them quite as much anymore. So there's no reserve on this, and he's a fairly decent sized male, and then he can plug into your project right away. And getting that confusion in there, if you ever seen the confusion bellies and the way that those work, it's so cool, especially when you get the visual clowns. Just get yourself a visual clown female. They're not that much, and quite frankly, you get a few extra genes in there. This male already has quite a bit. Maybe he's only with you for a little bit too. That's okay. Breed him into your stuff. Get that visual Leopard, Confusion, Yellow Belly, Clown, and whatever you ended up adding from that female, and then maybe you can move on from him as well. And you know, he's a good way to plug in and start getting something if you're just trying to add a gene to the project. I've done stuff like that where I know that the male won't be with me forever, but I kind of just want to get that gene in there. If you really want to get the Confusion gene into some of your clown projects, you do the same that I did. Speaking of Confusion, and Bob's Balls for that matter, this Confusion Black Pastel Het Desert Ghost is also available. Again, in a male, so same thing applies that I just said, but for Desert Ghost this time, if you want to get that Black Pastel and Confusion into your Desert Ghost projects, and these were both well sought after in that combo, in Desert Ghosts, quite frankly. I can't suggest those two enough. Now again, yeah, visuals, that would be more ideal, right? But you know, sometimes you work with what you can, and the pricing is going to remain a lot lower than a visual, quite frankly. That confusion getting through their genes is what can put you over the top. Sometimes it's the little things. I still have this girl here, but one of my first investments I ever made was a girl we ended up calling Dottie, and she is a Pastel Orange Dream Leopard Het Clown that was at the time 50% Het Pied. I sent a shed test into her and I lucked out, and she is 100% Het Pied. But my point is that for, at the time, I think it was $400 or $500 more, there was her sister that was all of that, but she was also Yellow Belly. Now, could she have not proved it as Het Pied? Yeah, she could have, but of course at the time buying that, it was 50-50. So it's still 50-50. Whoever ended up picking that animal up had just the same odds as me. So that's irrelevant. I can't just assume that, oh, well, I hit it and I picked the right one. The point of the matter is that I regret to this day not picking up the yellow belly gene in that combo where I'm trying to make some cool things like some awesome Batmans and stuff like that. I still love that animal and it'll be with me for quite some time, if not for a very long time. But I definitely should have gotten the yellow belly. So don't miss out because you wanted to cheap out a little bit on some genes. This stuff can really set you over the top, and yellow belly is an amazing gene. It could have set me over the top on that one as well. Taking a break from ball pythons, we're gonna look at the hogs for the week, starting off with this Arctic albino Superconda. I often say that I usually do not like the Superconda, but I end up showing off a Superconda that I really do like all the time, because when Superconda is good, boy oh boy is it good. And this one does it well because the head pattern is this nice cool orange, this burnt type of orange, and the coloring of the snake itself, the body of the snake, it's like a lemon. That's super cool. It'll always pass on one copy of Conda. The Arctic's 50-50, and it will always pass on a het of its albino. So this is a cool animal if you like working with the albino, which I do. It's probably my favorite recessive in all of the Hognoses. It's weird saying that, being a ball python primary guy, because obviously albino is just all everywhere with ball pythons, and it really is a lot of representation in Hognoses too, but hogs are not worked as much, even though that's changing. They are really getting so many cool morphs. This is really a rising species, that's for sure. Honestly, the biggest thing holding Hognoses back are laws, because they're not illegal in every place, but they are here in Indiana, for what I am very grateful. Our next hognose would be this toxic adult. The Toffee and yellow belly makes a toxic. They're very cool. I really like the Toffee belly. I'm actually working that as well in some of the adults that I purchased so that I can kind of cheat and get ahead of the game too. My real passion, of course, still remains with the albino, and I'm trying to work the sunburst. I have a chance at getting the Axanthic though, and I actually like the Axanthic quite a bit in Hognoses. I think what it does is very, very cool, and these do not suffer from the brownout that a lot of the bull pythons do. Very cool animal, could make a good breeder for you if this is what you want to work. And this, quite frankly, the prices are very good. Forgot to mention there was a reserve price on this one here, the first one, but nothing on this one. Moving along to this Yeti female with no reserve. Got a couple days left on it as of recording this, but these are pretty cheap prices right now. That could change in a flash, but I really like the Yeti. It's the combination of the albino and the Axanthic. I have a chance at these if I can prove out my animals as Axanthic. They're all, I think, well, not all of them, but a lot of them, my male is 66% het Axanthic. My female is the same too, so two of my females, quite frankly. So I'm hoping that that proves out. Well, everything is albino that I have for what I'm growing on anyways, so watch your fingers at feeding time. Oh yeah, they love to eat, and they'll trick you because they look super calm, and then just suddenly they're eating you. But super cool animal, and again, one with Conda, just one copy of it. With the Yeti, it's very light with these pinkish little colors, so you can just see these nice little faint pinkish blotches in them. Nice little girl here, so another one that's just honestly a really good price right now. If it stays anywhere even that near that hemisphere, I'll be surprised. And the next ones are two of my favorites because we're back into the just standard, this awesome, beautiful albino, and this is a red phase albino. This one is from Canada though, so I didn't see that when I picked it, but I'm not stopping at this point. It looks like they will export to the US. So no bids on this right now. Sometimes people might see that and they're just like, whatever, and they pass. There's no reserve though. Imagine you win this for an astronomically low amount. If you're getting this for a cheaper amount just because people don't want to bid on it because it's from Canada, that would be cool. So red phase, this is, my father of the clutch was either a lavender het albino, Axanthic het albino, or a het Axanthic het albino. So if one of these two breaded, it's either 100% lavender, 100% Axanthic, or it's 50% Axanthic. And of course you don't know since it's a possibility of three of them, so it's just possible. But this would be cool. Even just as an albino, it's very cool. This could be a possible great addition as a breeder to you. Speaking of just red, this is amazing. Extreme red, albino Conda, and I love the extreme reds in the albino, obviously, because you get this. I have one, it's from JMG, and I absolutely love him. And frame shift, I've bought in ball python from them before, and they're great. Really love them. It's a girl. It's a girl. I had thought this was a boy. Yeah, good luck to y'all. This could be a great addition if you are able to beat me for it. I don't know how I'm gonna be on this, but I'm definitely in at my $80 bid that I just did. This is so cool, and I would love to have this girl to breed my extreme red too. Moving back into ball pythons, we're actually a little bit more than halfway through with the ball python. So we are looking at a leopard yellow belly clown, 50% het pied, 50% het lavender. And this I wanted to throw in there because there is no bids on it, and it is a possible grail. It's not that much. You can do combo tests now, by the way. So you can send in for a test for 2 genes. So you can test this for $75 instead. Whereas normally, if you tried to test for pied, it would be 50 bucks. If you tried to test for lavender, it'd be another 50 bucks. So you're saving 25% off of that. That's incredible. So it's just something to think about. Send them both in. Maybe you'll get lucky and hit something on that. And normally we say, you know, obviously we want our males to be visuals, but a grail is going to be quite a bit more expensive, quite frankly. And there's a reason I added this one, and that's because we have a female here, and this female yellow belly is 100% het clown, and she's 50% het lavender, 50% het pied. So you could buy both of these because they're from the same exact breeder, and you could breed them. They've got some size to them too. Look at this. They're both just under 500 grams. So you're about a third of the way here for the female. You're almost there for the male. So you can send it in for all the tests, and guess what? 4-test bundle. So now you're saving $90. So yeah, definitely worth it if you buy both of these and win. Crazy, it's because it's not visual, but the male would at least be a visual clown, so you're always going to have het clowns 100%. And whatever you prove out here, I mean, it's going to be hard to get that lucky, but if you do, go buy a lottery ticket that day. It's likely that you're going to hit on something. If you bred these together, you could make clowns, you can make leopards. The only thing that honestly would be a little disadvantageous is the 2 yellow belly copies, because in this combo I wouldn't want to hit on ivory because I'd want it to be hitting on the lavenders and the pieds and the clowns, clearly. With that said, the pricing on this right now is really low. In fact, there's no bids. So I would definitely, for the right price, snatch these up and just roll the dice on hitting an ivory that hides all this beauty beneath it. This is probably the craziest wholesale group I've ever seen. It's a wholesale group posted on auction. All animals are also listed in Morphmarket for you to see. So I'm sure, assuming you can go to their Morphmarket and see it as well. But there's quite a bit here. You can even give them a call. I bought from Jersey Geballs as well. They're quality breeders. But the one thing is that they are very male heavy. There's one female and it's just a het clown. But what I like to do is I try to see beyond that. So if you're into snakes, you likely have friends that are into them. That's where I'm getting at with this. Maybe you guys do a draft. That'd be a little fun, right? This is very low right now, 60 bucks. It's gonna end up higher than that. But right now, as it stands, you're looking at about roughly $550 a snake. That's worth it. I know that a lot of people look at this and say, like, these are just his snakes that he doesn't want. It's what he didn't hit on. Well, yeah, clearly that's kind of the point. But there's some power here. There's a guaranteed double het sunset pied. That's a good value right there, especially if you didn't want to spend an astronomical amount of what a sunset pied to make it. You take that chance of getting another double het and rolling the dice. I mean, you're probably gonna hit on some of it, and then you keep some of those and you bring it back. Maybe you get real lucky and you do hit the double. It's not impossible, and that would be a very valuable animal. There's a 50% het monsoon. You can get some pictures of that one. If you get a lot of pattern on the top, the dorsal, I would say that it's probably more than likely going to prove out. Mahogany in the clown, cypress het clown, those are valuable genes. So if you're just getting started with a bunch of friends, this could potentially be something maybe you bid on and you guys split the auction, you split the shipping, and then you have a draft day, right? Or you just talk about it, make your decision, and split it amongst each other. A good value, I think. This chocolate lesser puzzle is a very beautiful animal from CK Industries. I love the way chocolate and lesser work together because it really creates this very faded, almost like melting chocolate type look. Very light, but yet dark at the same time. Like literally, look at the shading. It's just perfect. Kind of like a cappuccino. The fact that it's puzzle is a big time plus right there too. So if you're working the puzzle gene, getting chocolate in there is a big time win. There's not much more to say about this one. Just the fact that it's beautiful, and puzzle is a very big rising gene right now. It's highly worked. It's highly sought after. It does a lot with the patterns, and I love lesser as well. And I think that these work together quite well. There's a lot of different directions you could go with this as well. We could go to the darker route, you could try to keep it with this kind of immediate melted type look. I would like to get like another gene, like dark gene, like black pastel or blackhead into this. Looks like they actually bred a black pastel to try to make this as well, so that would have been cool if it hit. That's what I would like to do myself. But a very solid animal if you're into the puzzle project. Being a female already, and you breed this to a powerful male, you could definitely make some cool stuff. Moving right along, Redhead is a gene that we don't see all that much on here. I've seen it a couple times now. Very underappreciated, I think. Not by the big time breeders, they appreciate the heck out of it, and you see it in the combos, and people love it. But by itself, sometimes Redhead is kind of just underassuming. But you can see it even a little bit right here. So Redhead Black Pastel, 100% het clown. If it had been a clown, it would probably not be for sale. Or it would be a lot more, let's just say that. So you're gonna get a lot of contrast when you get combos with this, especially with a new hit clown. I believe the Redheads we actually saw from Ball Python Shed here at the Schaumburg show, and I think they were in our top 5, and they're great. This is a awesome snake if you want to work Redhead into your genes. I said it earlier, sometimes you need to sacrifice the visual just to get that gene. Again, maybe he's not with you forever. Maybe you get that, you hit the visual Redhead clown, throw it into a female, maybe you get a black pastel Redhead visual clown in a male, and then you can keep him. But the point is that if you are on a budget and you want to get Redhead, this is a good way to do that, and you don't need to just breed it in and then create hets yourself. That het is already here. So that's the point, is that you can breed this and get visuals possibly as soon as he's ready in maybe a year here. It's usually the case. Honestly, I find for most of my males, they get ready pretty quickly, honestly. Free shipping at that, this is a good one to do. Redhead is not something you should sleep on. If you want to stand out, listen and look at the combos being made by a lot of these big time breeders. You don't have to copy them. In fact, you can, because quite frankly, they're still cool, but you should look at what the genes do. Some of these underassuming genes do a lot, and people have put in the work to see that, so take advantage of that. Very powerful male, quite frankly, here, and some people will overlook that because it's just a head clown. What I see is the future here. I already am seeing the possibility for creating a visual Redhead clown, and that's what I would want to do immediately. And then you move on from him. You sell him to someone else, and now they have the opportunity to do the same as you did and contribute to this community. So very cool animal. I hope someone gets this one and really appreciates and works that Redhead into everything they got. Back to frame shift, but this time ball pythons instead of hognoses, and that would be this Desert Ghost Pied. It's got some time, but 55 bucks? What? I mean, it's not gonna end there, but I mean, heck, if you're into the Desert Ghost and Pied, this is just a great animal. If you're just wanting to get into it, watch this animal. It could go for a lot more. It really could go for a lot more, but sometimes people aren't paying attention to certain weeks. I've gotten some insane deals that quite frankly should not have happened. But these are great animals, and if you want to work the Desert Ghost Pied project, well, I mean, well, there you go, you're already in it, right? But you can start making your own and start contributing and adding a lot more to the project. You know, breed this to some hets with some extra genes in there. Leopard, that would be a really cool one. Get some of that dark back in there as well. So just a good deal, something to keep your eye on for sure. If this stays in the lower end, it's going to go much higher than this. Don't kid yourself. It's not going to stay even under 100, but it's going to be something you want to watch. I don't think I've ever seen a Jaguar on here. This is an Orange Dream Butter Jaguar, and it already looks outstanding. So Jaguar, if you haven't heard of it, it's a newer gene. I see it worked from Royal Constrictor Pythons. I guess you could slightly compare it to kind of like a flavor of Leopard, but it's its own thing. And quite frankly, when they're together, they do awesome stuff. This is a very cool animal, and if you want to start getting into a gene that's not cheap, this could be a potential one. So I'll keep an eye on this one myself. I'm not going to throw a placeholder right now, but I will keep an eye on it, no doubt about that, because Jaguar is something I'd love to get into. And again, like I said earlier, if you want to stand out, you make these cool animals, but you also have something that's a conversation starter. It's a sales tactic, but it is one that works. As long as you have those conversations, you get them interested, people will buy in on that, because this is a cool gene. It backs up its talk. Here's some power right here, and that would be this Ghi Sunset. Geez, it's iridescent in that picture. It is dark, and I know a lot of people say that Ghi or Sunset probably doesn't need to get any darker because it browns out, but I don't know, it works a little weird and different. Like this right here, I think that's when it was young, or just, that's like iridescent. It looks like black fire. Very cool. Sunset can be an expensive gene, and sure enough, this does have a reserve price. I don't know what that will be, but this could potentially add some power to it, and if it stays in the lower end, getting Sunset into your collection would be, I would be interested to see how a Ghi Sunset, like a project with that, would work. It like I said, I like what I'm seeing here. It's like bluish, the sheen, I'm sure the sun is going to affect that too, but you know, that's the point. It's like almost like an iridescence. A very cool animal. I don't know how it will age. I love Ghi as well. Just incredibly dark. If it were to stay just like this even, that would be outstanding. I don't know how it'll age, but it looks phenomenal. What I'm looking at right now looks intensely cool. And I love Ghi. It's not just a darkening gene. It does a lot. It's a shading type gene. So I don't think that it's just gonna add to the brown out. I do not think that that is the case. It could keep it too dark. That is a possibility, but there's a lot of potentials to lighten that. Like Ghi Mojaves are not just pure dark. They have both. They're very contrasted and awesome. You know, you work other genes into this, maybe Mojave, and that could change. That could change in a heartbeat, and you could have something real special on your hands if you can meet that reserve price, that is. And that's where we'll end it today. As always, if you got something from our auctions, please let me know in the comments. If you got something in the past as well, I love to hear it. I hope you enjoyed it. You heard us talk a lot about shed testing. If you'd like to know more about that, you can check out our video on shed testing and how that works right about here.